Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a tag that I saw just from Books Past Bedtime and Haley over at Haley Hughes. They both did the makeup and books tag, and I have always loved watching this tag because it combines two of my favorite things, which are makeup and books, and so it is just the perfect tag to do. I am by no means a makeup artist. I probably do so many things wrong, and so sorry in advance if it's just difficult to watch me and my makeup routine. That being said, I am going to stop rambling and we can go ahead and jump on into the video. The first prompt is primer, and that goes along with a book that left a lasting impression. And so for primer, I'm going to be using the Benefit Professional. This one, a book that left a lasting impression, I am going to go with The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I know that a lot of people kind of make fun of John Green's characters in his books and just, I don't know, I feel like people are always joking that he writes very quirky, know-it-all characters, the typical I'm not like everybody else kind of character. I know it blew up to be the book that it is today, but I just, for a little bit, it felt like it was my special little secret, and it was my favorite book for the longest time because I just felt like I compared everything to it. Like nothing lived up to how I felt in the moment when I read The Fault in Our Stars, and so it is forever going to be a favorite of mine, and for that reason it just left such a lasting impression on me. I love it so much. Next is foundation, and for foundation I'm going to be using the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-hour full coverage. It is in the shade light, which I am so pale that honestly this foundation is my summer shade, which is kind of embarrassing. For this question, it is a favorite book in a series, and I really don't read too many series. I used to be a lot better about it with the Hunger Games, Divergent, and all of that. I think right now my favorite book in a series is Clockwork Prince. I have been reading Cassandra Clare's books in publication order, and I have really loved the Infernal Devices series. I really love Will and Tessa and Jem and just all of the characters, and I think it's just such an interesting story. A lot of people's favorite is Clockwork Princess, and I'm really excited to get to that one. Next is concealer, and for concealer I am just using the Maybelline, I think this is the Fit Me concealer. It rubbed off. This is a character you wish you could get rid of, and oh my gosh, it would be Von Richter from The Nightingale. I hated that man with a burning passion. I don't think I've read a book that caused me so much rage and anger when reading about a character. I think he was just the definition of human scum. If you've read it, you know, just knowing that he was using her weaknesses, I really loathed him with all of my being. If you read The Nightingale, which I highly recommend, it's my favorite book, you'll understand. All right, so next up is powder, and for powder today I'm going to be using the Tarte Shape Tape setting powder. Let's try to open that without spilling. For powder, the question is a favorite last book in a series. Harry Potter, which I know is a very popular answer. It kind of stinks that J.K. Rowling is not the best person, but I would be lying if I said that any other book was my favorite, because I just really love the Harry Potter series, and I feel like Deathly Hallows was just such a great ending. Next prompt is eyebrows, and I just went ahead and did those off camera because I was really struggling talking and doing that. I have not gotten my eyebrows done since the beginning of quarantine, so they are definitely looking rough. We're just rolling with it. But the book that goes along with eyebrows is a book you think everyone should read, and that is definitely my new all-time favorite book, The Nightingale. It was a book that just really left such a powerful impression on me. It is beautiful. It's so important. I think everybody needs to read it. I told my mom and my boyfriend that I just want them to read it so badly, and they're not the biggest readers, and so it is a book that I wish they could just put their hand on and they will have read the story. Like, they would get the full story, because I just think everybody needs to read it. It's a pretty long book, which I think is why they're really intimidated by it. They have said they'll read it, but who actually knows? Broom, broom. But yeah, it's a book that I really just want everybody to read. If I could just, like I said, put it in their hands and they'll have read it, I will be happy. I want the world to read this book. So the next prompt is eyeshadow, and for this I'm going to be using the Jaclyn Hill palette. This is just her first one that she did with Morphe. It's very well loved. It's, oh my gosh, it's very gross and I love it. So I'm actually going somewhere after this, so I don't want to look too crazy, so I'm going to try to do a little bit of a more subdued look. The question that goes with this is a book with your favorite colors on the cover, and my favorite color is actually yellow. A book I recently read with yellow on it is Peachtree by Emily Henry, and I actually really loved the book, which is nice because before that the only book I could really think of that had my favorite color on the cover was like The Cursed Child, and I have not read that. It's kind of nice that now I have a book that I really love the color on the cover, and I also really love the book as well. I wouldn't say it's like my favorite cover I've ever seen or anything like that, but it's definitely a beautiful yellowy summery cover. My eyeshadow is actually going to take me longer than it took to answer that question, so I'm just going to do the rest off camera. So when you see me next, eyeshadow will be done. Alright, so eyeshadow's done. Hopefully that looks okay. We're trying here. So next up is eyeliner, and I think I'm going to try to use this Stila, but I'm going to do it off camera just because that's easier to focus. The micro tip felt eyeliner. Okay, that looks awful. I don't know what is happening. It's like when I need things to look good, they're not. I was going to try to do a wing because that's what I normally do, but I've just been having really bad luck. Like, why is this smearing everywhere? What is happening? Okay, we're just gonna go with it. It's gonna be fine. For this one, it's a dark and mysterious book. I picked Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. This was just a really spooky, weird book. It's about a nanny who's watching these 3 girls, and you don't really know if the things going on in the house are supernatural or if someone else is behind it, and it's just very dark, mysterious. It kept me guessing. It's definitely not my favorite thriller. I thought that the end was, I don't know, kind of cheap. Other than that, it was really good. I think I gave it 4 stars. Next up is mascara, which we're gonna hope saves this disaster of a look that's happening right now. The book that goes along with that is a long book, and to be honest, I don't read many long books. I definitely get, I don't know, if I see a book that's super long, I don't tend to really reach for it. Some of the books that came to mind when I saw this one were Little Women. That book I think is over 500 pages, but I also have a book that's a collection of all of the books in the Little Women series. So it has Little Women, Joe's Boys, and Little Men, I think is the other one, which I haven't read, but it's definitely probably the longest book I own. It's huge. And then the longest book I probably read might be Order of the Phoenix, in the Harry Potter series. That is, I want to say 850 pages. So quite a big book. I got mascara in my hair. We're not thriving today, ladies and gents. The next one is technically blush, but I do contour first. So we're gonna mix this around a little bit. Fun fact, I actually forgot my contour at home. And so we're going back into the Jaclyn Hill palette with just like a very light brown that we're gonna use for contour. I've done this before, so hopefully it looks okay. It's not my first time using eyeshadow as contour. I mean, it's all powder, so you know, we're fine with it. For this one, it is a book that you were surprised by how much depth it had. And to be honest, I don't know if a book has ever really surprised me with the amount of depth it had, mainly because I kind of go into it knowing it's going to be a sad book. Like, I'm thinking of the books, like The Nightingale was a book that was really, I think it's a very important book and had a lot of important topics in it and everything, but I didn't go into that thinking it was going to be a light and fluffy book, so it didn't really surprise me. I guess what I could say was The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, because I didn't really know what that book was going to be about at all. It did cover a lot of topics like sexual harassment and religion and everything like that, so I guess I just didn't really expect that from that book, which I really liked the book, so it definitely didn't disappoint. The next up is my favorite, which is blush. I love blush so much. I'm going to be using the Kylie pressed blush powder. It's like this really pretty orangey pink. I broke the little palette here, and I don't know how I never dropped it. I never did anything but look at the mess, but it's my favorite, so I refuse to get rid of it. For blush, it's a cringeworthy romance, and you know, I might get some hate for this, but I'm going to say Bella and Edward from Twilight.
I like watching you sleep.
Oh man, I was a huge Twilight fan back in the day. I was Team Jacob, and not because of Taylor Lautner. I just liked his character better, which is an unpopular opinion. Just the way that Bella and Edward are together, it's so cringy and weird, and I mean, you can blame it on like the high school love. Like, I definitely think most high school romances are pretty cringy. Edward's also like 100-some years old, so. Next up is lipstick, and for this one, like I said, I'm going somewhere, so I don't want to pick like a crazy one, so I'm just going to use my MAC Cream in Your Coffee little lipstick. For this one, it is a favorite book, Kiss, and for this one, I have to just go with The Hating Game, and I don't know if I have like a favorite kiss in that book, because I definitely love the elevator kiss, I love the parking garage kiss, I love all the kisses in that book. I think that they are just perfect. They made me swoon, they made me blush. I love it. On top of this, I'm also going to be adding my Kylie Oh You Fancy high gloss, because I love my nice little glossy lip, and I love it so much. It smells so good. I would highly recommend it. Last but certainly not least is highlighter, and I love highlighter. For highlighter, I'm going to be using the Becca Champagne Pop. I promise I actually take care of my makeup, but I don't know why it just gives up on me so easily. The question that goes along with this is a book that brightened your day. That is definitely Little Women by Louise May Alcott. This book surprised me so much. It's a classic. I honestly thought that I would have a hard time following along just with the language and everything. I don't know. It wasn't like that at all. A lot of the problems that these girls had are problems that girls still have today. It felt very relatable, real, and I loved it. Jo March is one of my absolute all-time favorite literary characters. It's just amazing. I love it so much. So this is the final look. Definitely not the best makeup I've ever done. It was just very hard to multitask talking about the makeup and the books and actually doing your makeup. I don't see how beauty gurus do it. It's definitely difficult. If you did like this video and the struggle that I went through, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you would like to see more bookish content from me, you can go ahead and subscribe. Thank you, Jess and Haley, for this idea. I will link their videos and their channels down in the description. And yeah, that is pretty much it from me. So I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.